All right, so first and foremost, I want to start off by saying Barakathon, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, and I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shout out to the whole Follette, starting with the 144,000. Shalom. All right, so I was watching the brothers' camp yesterday. This lesson, came to me through the spirit, right? And we're gonna title this "Gross Darkness," right? And the title of the camp yesterday with the brothers, title of the camp was "Don't Take the Most High's Grace Period for granted," right? And as I'm watching the camp, the spirit just hit me, right? I want to get it done yesterday, but I ended up having 6 a.m. conditioning, so I ended up falling asleep. But the spirit is still on me today as I woke up and got the workouts and whatnot, and the spirits are still on me to go into it, and because, matter of fact, I'm gonna start in 1 Thessalonians 5 because, as more and more as we continue to, as days go on, people continue to think they have time and time and time, even though the scriptures tell us, make no tarry to turn to the Lord, and people feel like they have time to get themselves together. But let's be honest though, right? People ain't really thinking time to get together to get close to Yahweh Shah, because the people don't know Yahweh Shah, right? And people ain't really using that time to really, build themselves up through the spirit, right? And you have these people who, they building themselves up, but it's for the aspect of trying to survive and build a wealth within this world, right? And that's what's gonna lead them to destruction. Matter of fact, it really started off one of my favorite precepts, Michael 2:10, right? It says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted and it shall destroy you, even with the sword of destruction." And we always mention, the people are looking for a rest. People are looking for a chance to sit back and relax and be at peace, right? But they're looking for peace in the wrong place. They're looking for peace in a place where there's going to be no peace. There's never been no peace here, right? Let's go back to 1948. Was them not so-called putting the so-called Jews in our land? Was that not supposed to be the beginning of peace? Look what's going on over there right now, right? You have people fighting, right? Because there's prophecies going to be fulfilled. There's things that's set. Even going back to Ezekiel 12, right? Ezekiel 12, where the Most High was using Ezekiel as a sign to show the people, what's going to happen if they don't get right. And the people was what, we got time, all these visions you talking about, they ain't happy yet, right? So the people they thinking they got time, right? This mercy period that's upon us, they're using it for granted. But all of that's because why? Because they gross darkness, man. They don't have the knowledge and understanding of Yahweh Shah, right? So let's go back to 1 Thessalonians, right, 5. And let's see, we'll start at verse 1. It says, "But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord comes as a thief in the night." Right? And the brother brought out a precept. I want to say that was Matthew 24, going into, the parable with the, Yahweh Shah was saying, if the thief knew when the robber was coming, he would prepare himself. Right? But people got to understand that we can't say that, oh, it's gonna pop off tomorrow, it's gonna happen today. But like the elders be saying, like Apostle Tahar just went into this in one of the camps the other day, like he was talking about how, hey, this might happen or that might happen, but hey, we know that the MOTB chip is gonna happen. We know this is gonna come. We can't tell you the exact date or it's gonna be such on such a day. No, but we know it's gonna come, right? Through the faith of Yahweh Shah and through the spirit of prophecy. That's what we have, right? Yahweh Shah, he said they overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of his testimony, right? That testimony, Revelation 19:10, what is the spirit of prophecy to allow us to understand these things and see these things, to allow us to prepare ourselves, right? And that goes into what? Not taking this grace period, not taking this grace period for granted, to prepare ourselves because it's going to be a great insurrection for those who fear the Lord. It's going to be a great insurrection for Israel, man. Esau finna come through on one because the Most High is going to allow them to come through on one, right? What it says in Psalms, what David say, right? Hide me from them which are your sword, which are your power, merely paraphrase, right? But to continue reading on, it says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief," right? But we're not in darkness. What is that darkness? right? That darkness is the cluelessness, right? Them being confused, because the scriptures tell us this is a dark kingdom, right? The scriptures tell us this kingdom where we in Babylon, which is called America, right? Spiritually, Sodom and Egypt, right? This is a dark kingdom. Every day they walk on in darkness. So if you walking after the ways the scriptures tell us, right? They walk on in darkness, right? In the book of Psalms. So if you falling out the ways of this world, you falling out the ways of Esau, if you're not in the spirit of Habashah, you walking on in darkness, man. So you clueless to these things that's coming, right? It says, and I got some notes right here, right? I bring my notes right? The elect woke and they see the day coming, right? And the reason why I read this, I want to get to this right here, right? Verse 5 says, "You are the children of the light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness." Right? So you are the children of the light. Yahushua brought that light to us. That light is that understanding, that knowledge, right? The understanding these scriptures. And the children of the day, what is that? The children of the kingdom, right? Because what? What's I got right here in my notes? In the beginning of a day, the day is the beginning of a new day, right? The night is the end of the day, right? So the day is the kingdom, right? I got it right here in my notes. We're going to bring it out, right? So we are not of the night. Right, we're not of this kingdom, because this kingdom is going to end, and the kingdom of Yahushua is coming too in that new day, right? So I got it right here, right? So the day is talking about the kingdom. Esau, the children of the night. The night means the end of the day. The day means beginning of new day. So therefore, we got a new kingdom coming, right? And this kingdom, like this dark kingdom, the children of the night, we're not the night, right? This kingdom right here is finna end, and night means the end of the day. So this kingdom is gonna end, and a new day is coming. A new kingdom is coming. What kingdom is coming? The kingdom of Yahushua, our kingdom, the kingdom for the Hebrew Israelites, where we'll be in rulership, right? But in order to inherit the kingdom, right, we have to do the will and do the works of Yahushua, right? And that goes into, like the brothers doing an account. Don't take this grace period for murder. Don't take this grace period. Don't take Yahushua mercy for granted, right? Because you got to understand, him giving us this knowledge and understanding, that's the mercy upon us, right? Us giving giving us a chance to get right. And if I don't know if the brother's seen it, but Apostle Hart went into a lesson, right? He was basically reacting off a dude video, and the dude was basically saying, you Hebrew Israelites running around here thinking that somebody's coming to save you, this and that the Sky Daddy, he was calling it whatnot. He was saying all these things, right? Saying all these crazy things, and thinking that whatnot. See, Jake lost. That's that darkness. See, Jake ready to give up. That's why Yahushua said, him that can endure to the end, because he knew it was going to get hard. He knew it was going to be hard for us, right? But it's not as hard as you think. Yeah, it's tough. I'm not saying it's easy, but when you have the spirit of Yahushua, you take the care of this world away from you. So the things that go on, the things that happen around you, you have no care within it. It don't faze you in a sense, right? I ain't saying it don't hurt you, because the thing we endure all the things. With the prophets, right? Paul, Yahushua, right? They went through harsh things, right? The things we going through and the things we're going to go through, right? Them things that were set, them things that been set. Them things that been said. What I was just reading. Matter of fact, I was just reading Philippians, right? I was just reading Philippians. Let's see. And it's Paul talking, right? Let's see where I want to start at. Bear with me. Right here. Philippians 1 verse 12, right? It said, But I would ye should understand, brethren, that the things which happened unto me have fallen out rather unto the furtherance of the gospel. So the things that Paul went through, right? The people were seeing it. The people were seeing it. The people were seeing the things that Paul was going through, right? And they see him overcoming it through the spirit of probably Yahushua, with him keeping his faith, with him enduring, doing the works of Yahushua. He was overcoming it, right? And people started seeing it. So the gospel was going out, right? That's why Yahushua said, let your light shine forth, right? Let me see. What is that? So we're going to go back to that. Right here, Matthew 5:16, right? It said, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Because we understand that we're made perfect through our sufferings and doing and going through these pains and hardship that Yahushua set for us to go through, and that's giving up the way of our own selves and and submitting to the will of your Yahweh, right? But within that, it's going to be harsh. There's going to be pain. There's going to be things we're going to go through because we're not of this world. And you see, when you're not of this world, it creates a lot of problems. It creates a lot of chaos because the things that are set for us, the way this world go around it, they're contrary to it. That's why we don't move in the flesh. The scripture said, right? These are contrary one to another. Spirit is flesh. They are contrary to, because the spirit Yahweh, it ain't going in the path that they going to the wide gate. We going on the narrow passage with things on the right and things on the left, right? So we got to stay focused. We got to walk circumspect. We ain't taking no risks. We ain't doing that. We depart from we taking action from all evil. We focused on the will of Yahweh, right? But going back to Philippians, right? Philippians 1 and verse 13 says, so that my bonds and Mashiach are manifest in all of the palace, in all other places, and many of the brethren in the Lord, waxing confident by my bonds, are much more bold to speak the word without fear. Because why? We understand that, hey, what Paul say, right? Paul said what? And when he wrote the letter to Timothy, right, what he said, right? There's a crown set up for me, right? Did Paul receive that crown when he was beheaded? No. In the regeneration, right? In a regeneration, right? Him being reincarnated, that shows you that Paul's still here today, right? Reincarnation, he's still here today. And in that regeneration, when Yahweh Shah come and he received that crown, he's going to receive the crown for his works. Your labor is not in vain. The things you face, things you go through, the Most High see that. And he see the ones who endure and take that pain on the chin and do and give up the pleasure of themselves and do the will of Yahweh, no matter what comes with it. I just did a lesson on that the other day, right? Let this mind be in you, the author and finisher of our faith. Yahweh came and showed, and you have the disciples, the prophets, right? And Yahweh, the prophets, the disciples later turned apostles, going through these things, as Paul saying, right? And many of the brethren in the Lord waxing confident by my bonds, by the things that I'm going through, by the things that I'm facing. They see them overcoming through the spirit of power, Yahweh, are much more bold to speak the word without fear. So now they ain't scared to speak this word. Now we don't care what the Romans gonna do. Now we don't care what Esau gonna do. Now we don't care what Trump put out here. We don't care about that, right? Because we done seen the men before, right? I'm gonna go to precept real fast. I think it's 2 Thessalonians. Bear with me. I'm gonna go to two quick precepts real fast. It's like it. 1 Thessalonians 3 and 4. Right? It says, for verily, when we were with you, we told you before that we should suffer tribulation, even as it came, and ye know. Right? So they tell you, hey, we suffer this, so you're gonna go through it. The servant is not greater than his Lord. Right? They have persecuted me, they'll persecute you also. Right? These things we gotta face. Right? But understanding that what Slacky. Book of Sirach 2 and 10, right? It says, look at the generations of old, right? The Yahweh, the prophets, the disciples turned apostles, Paul been added in, right? Look at the generation of old and see, did any ever trust in the Lord and was confounded, right? Did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? Because these people be having the fear of other nations, or the judgment of what other nations gonna think about them, right? They don't want to preach that Esau gonna be destroyed, right? They don't want to preach these things because they don't want people to look at them different. But Paul said, I suffered tribulation even as an evildoer. Right? They think he's speaking evil. They think he's speaking bad things because he's telling them, man, right? Yahweh only coming for the Hebrew Israelites, and even out those Hebrew Israelites, only coming for the elect, the truth for the elect. Right? But that goes back to the title of the lesson, man. They gross darkness, right? And let's see. This is the Isaiah 60, right? And I started verse 1. It says, arise, shine, for thy light is come. What's that light? The understanding is knowledge of these scriptures, right? What did Yahweh say? I come a light into the world. What did Yahweh bring us? Yahweh brought us the 100% truth. He brought us the knowledge and understanding, right? And when he left, he said, I pray the Father leave you a comfort. So now that comfort is upon us. What is that? The Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. So now that Spirit is upon us, right? It says, arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people, right? But the Lord shall rise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. Who is that talking about? That's talking about the elect. But you have the people who gross darkness. And what is that gross darkness? That's the foolishness, the non-understanding. They don't know what's going on. They run around here like a chick with their head cut off. They don't know what to do. And it hit me in the spirit because, like I was saying, as I was watching the brothers, right? As I'm watching the brothers, they going into the less, they want to go into the title less, don't take don't take this grace period, this mercy period for granted. But people taking it for granted because His mercy is upon us right now. But you got to understand, when Jacob's trouble hit, they forcing the MOTB. See, the people they gross darkness, so they're gonna be confused, they're gonna be lost, and guess what? They're gonna take the chip, and the Most High gonna do what? Destroy their ass, man. Right? Revelation 13, right? Both small and great, everybody got to take the chip. But what is that? What is that? Revelation 14? Anybody take the chip, got the mark of the beast, he's gonna be destroyed right along with the beast. Really paraphrasing, right? So, but you have people who take this grace period and they gross darkness, right? They don't have the knowledge of how Bashin Yahushua, right? They don't have the knowledge of how Bashin Yahushua to be able to prepare themselves, right? I posted a precept and the brothers read it on the comment board, Revelation 19, right? And verse, let's go to it real fast. I'll read it, but I'm necessarily just going to really want to go into Revelation 19:17. It said, "Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to Him, for the merit of the Lamb is come, that Lamb is Yahushua, and His wife, which is the elect, has made herself ready." Right? Prepare ourselves through the knowledge of Scripture. Understand we're preparing ourselves, right? Because when you go to Revelation 21, what did John say, right? John said, I saw the, verse 2, it said, "And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem," right? The kingdom of Yahushua, coming down from Yahweh out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Right? That's the thing. People don't understand the dark saying. They don't understand the parables. They don't understand these things. Matthew 13, but how I said, because it's not given unto them. You understand the message? It's given unto you. Right? But the point is, in verse 8, it says, "And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints." And we're all saints, but only ones the elect is called to be saints. And when I was thinking about the parable, it says Matthew 22 of the wedding. Right, of the wedding, right, and in the wedding, the one guy who he wasn't clothed in the right clothing, right? Let me see, is that Matthew 22? Yeah, right? It's Matthew 22, right? And I'm getting straight to the point. Right, I started verse 10, right? I started verse 8. He said, "Then said he to his servants," right, the prophets, the servant is true. The wedding is ready, right? But they which were bidden are not worthy, right? Go therefore into the highways and as many as ye shall find bid unto the marriage, right? So the wedding is ready, the kingdom is ready, everything is set. How just waiting on us to get right, right? So you got the watchmen, set up on the highways and byways, doing video each and every day to help gather their elect, right? He said, "So those servants went out to the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both good and bad," right? What is that? The precept of the brother Khan just quoted yesterday. I want to say this in Matthew 13, where he talk about the field, the tares and the wheats, but also going into the the casting the net out, right? Like matter of fact, the tares and the wheats going into how you got Jake. You got Jake who look like Esau who look like Jake, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be the wicked gonna be plucked out, the bad gonna be plucked out. The Most High is gonna separate it, right? Also, the precept I'm talking about with the kingdom is like unto a field. It's like not that one. Let me see. Right here, Matthew 13, real fast. We're going to go back to Matthew 22, right? Verse 47. He said, "Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that's cast to the sea and gathered every kind. When which it was full, they drew to the shore and sat down," right? So that net, right? This word is like a net, right? We in the highways and byways, we preaching this truth. This word is like a net, right? The sea is the people, the nations, the multitude, the people, right? You got Israelites scattered among all nations. Right? What is that? Revelation, right? Where it says, we talk about the seas is the multitude of the people, right? It says, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away, right? And so and Paul, he was talking about in Philippians 1, right? You have some who teach in Christ and envy. You got some who are not sincere when they come to the truth, but they're going to be plucked out, right? When the time comes, they're going to be exposed, and you seeing that now. Right? This is just like I say, at the count, the brothers just talking about it, the sifting, man. Brothers, people are going to be sifted out because they're not sincere within this thing, right? But the Most High knew you would do that, Right? The Most High knew you would do that. That's why you got. And then Paul also talked about you got the ones who try to add afflictions to his bond, who try to make it harder on them. But Paul said, "I endure all things for the elect's sake." They try to make it hard. You got these people who teach in vain babblers, right? These apostates who teach their own doubt, their own understanding. But Yahushua said, "What? My sheep should hear my voice." What is his voice? His knowledge, his understanding, scripture. His sheep is which the Israelites, but beginning with the elect, right? They're the ones who gonna understand the 100% truth, the knowledge and understanding, right? So going back to Matthew 22, right? Bear with me. All right, so going back to Matthew 22 and at verse 10 again. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both good and bad. And the wedding was furnished with guests, right? Because you had these, like I said, what Paul talking about Philippians, you have these people who come into this truth. But as Jude wrote, right, when Jude wrote the letter telling them to contend in righteous faith, that's what Paul said to do, to defend defend the gospel, to defend the righteous faith. Right, what Jude was talking about, you have those apostate ones who turn the faith, you have who out here teaching wrong doctrine, teaching their own doctrine, right? You have these men who come into this truth with unsincerity, coming to this truth, looking for fame, looking for honor and glory of this world, looking for money, things as such, right? You got men corrupt unawares, right? But he said, but when the king came in to see the guests, right? When Yahweh sent Yahushua down here to return, right? He saw there a man which had not on the wedding garment. He wasn't clothed in that fine lining. He wasn't clothed in that righteousness of Yahweh Yahushua. So guess what? He said to him, "Friend, how comes thou and hither not having a wedding garment?" And he was speechless. Then the king said to the servants, bind him hand and foot, and take him away and cast him into the outer darkness. Right? Turn a rope break, get him out of here. Right? He ain't sincere within his ministry. Right? He said, there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called and few are chosen. Right? Because we all saints, but everybody ain't called to be a saint. Right? And within that, like I was reading Revelation 19, right? In verse 8, right? It says, and there was and to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, pure, right? She chased servant for righteousness, right? The ones who chased the will of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, who took up that cross, gave up their own way, came to this truth, right? Who shine their light forth. So, but you got Jake out here as a title of the lesson, right? They gross darkness, man. They ain't clothed in that fine linen. They ain't clothed within that. They ain't clothed in the clothing of Yahweh. They don't got on their wedding garment. Right? So guess what? We're gonna cast them to the outer darkness, man. They're amongst the congregation of the dead. So when that fear come, right, when that destruction come, when that Jacob's trouble come, right, when Esau come through slaughter, they ain't gonna be to Yahushua. They ain't gonna be to call on him. Right? They ain't gonna be to, oh Lord, I'm sorry, I ain't. Nah. God said the scripture say when your fear coming out the whirlwind, when your fear is mocking you, you ain't gonna be to call on him. But you gotta call on him while he's near. But he's here right now. Right? But Jake don't understand that. Jake don't know that. Right? That's how that's the spirit is less even hitting me, because even think about less Apostle Harris did, right? Now I mentioned it before. But I keep missing because if you watch it, man, the dude he's oh, so y'all God gonna send us to slavery for years to get us. You don't see they gross darkness, man. That's the darkness right there. He don't understand that we weren't sent to slavery for our destruction. Yeah, Esau went overboard and they're going to be punished for that. But we were sent to destruction. What Apostle Romlot did that lesson about the prodigal son when he came to himself. See, we had to go through these things. We had to go through these hardships, these afflictions for us to come to ourselves and realize, like, hold up, we got to get right. We're the children of Yahweh Yahushua. But only a few gonna understand that. Only the elect understand that. Right? We came from royalty. We came from glory. We had our own homeland. We had our own cattle. We had our own land. We were kings. But we were knocked down because we chose the will of ourselves and we disrespect the Yahushua. But we understand he giving us the chance to do it right. We're going to be put back in that position. But Jake grows darkness. He don't know that, right? I was going to go to Baruch, the book of Baruch, chapter 4, right? It says, I start at verse 4. It says, O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to Yahweh are made known unto us, right? Because we got the laws and commandments. We got he gave us the covenants. He gave us a chance to be able to inherit the kingdom of heaven. He gave all that to the Israel. Not to no other nation. He didn't deal with other nations. This is to Israel. So we got the chance to get this right. What more can I do to my vineyard? Right? Isaiah chapter 5. Right? He gave us a chance to correct it. Right? But guess what? Jake still walking on the darkness, man. Jake want the money. Jake want the cars, clothes, and all that. Right? It said, be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because he moved Yahweh to wrath. You were delivered unto your enemies. And Jake don't understand that. See, Jake grows darkness. They don't even know Yahweh Shah. Oh, my God, wouldn't do no evil. He wouldn't do no this and that. Well, man, you don't know Yahweh Shah. You in darkness, man. You lost. He said, for you provoked him that made you by sacrifice unto devils and not Yahweh. Ye have forgotten the everlasting that brought you up. Ye have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you, man. Right? We grieved Jerusalem, right? We lost our homeland. Right now we out here in this captivity going through it, and Jake lost. Jake trying to find any way where he can be rest and comfortable within himself. But that's not the point of the how I say outside mercy. The point of the mercy right now, his point of mercy is revealing his name unto us, right, for one, right? And him giving us knowledge and understanding to correct ourselves, do it right. Not going to be perfect, right? But to give up our own will, to endure the sufferings, to endure the pain, to endure the afflictions, to endure the things and stay focused within his will. Even though all these things around us seem alluring, like you need it, like you're supposed to have it, right? We sit here to endure the afflictions, right? Endure the pain and correct ourselves through the spirit of Habashim, right? Walking on in that spirit, purging not the way of ourselves, not pleasuring ourselves, not giving pleasure to ourselves, because that pleasure of yourself, the pleasure of that flesh, is going to lead you away from Habashim, which it done in the past. But the ones who stayed focused and did his will, they will be honored and glorified in due time. And all this is impossible without faith. You gotta have the faith to understand it, right? Your brothers brought out another precept, right? It just hit me in the spirit in 1 Peter, right? The Lord is not slack concerning his promise. The Most High don't want to punish, but you have Jake out here who just blatantly just go off. They grow to darkness, so the Most High gotta correct you. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. The Most High gotta correct you, man. Jake can't go listen. He sent you through this was the worst captivity of all of them, and Jake still don't get it, right? But you have the elect, and the elect obtained it, right? And therefore, in due time, everybody will be brought into the kingdom. That's why the second covenant comes into play. The laws and commandments will be written in our hearts and minds, right? And there'll be no more sin. But that second covenant ain't in play yet, right? The kingdoms will be restored together. The only thing happened with that second covenant is Yahweh Shai laying down for our nation. And that's what Jake got to understand. So another thing Jake don't know, Yahweh Shai came and laid down for the nation of Israel to reconcile us back to the fold of Yahweh Shai. He's that mediator that brought us back in. That's why the scriptures say, if a hair, then a hair to Yahweh, and joint hairs with Yahweh Shai. If that be, we also shall suffer with him. Really paraphrasing Romans 8:17. So we got to endure the suffering and pain. But Jake got to get out this darkness, man. Right? So, let me see. Try to think of another precept I want to hit. Oh, you can wrap it up. I know John 12:40, I come light into the world. Matter of fact, I think it's in Corinthians. First, bear with me. Bear with me. Oh, nah, it's Ephesians. Ephesians 5. I thought it was in Corinthians. Might be another one in Corinthians. But Ephesians 5, right? And I started at verse 6. It says, let no men deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of Yahweh upon the children of disobedient, right? Because, the vain babble. That's why that's why you had apostles, why you got the sincere in the truth doing what? Defending the gospel. Telling you, hey, these people trying to deceive, they tricking you. Right? They trying to get you. But the only ones who are going to be deceived are the ones who walk in darkness. Right? Because they lost. They grow. The Most High said they grow. You know what growth mean? Growth mean like when you wake up in the night and you got to go use the bathroom, and you put your hand on the wall to try to find the light switch so you can flip the light on. You broke like as if you were blind. You don't know where you going, right? That's how Jake do. So anybody who take their hand and say follow me, they gonna do that. So Esau the one taking their hand and say follow me and lead them right on to destruction, right? But most I tell you not to pay attention to that. Don't follow after them. Follow after the men of Yahweh, right? But Jake don't do that. But it's gonna be a judgment for that. It says, be ye not therefore partakers with them, for you were sometimes darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of the light, for the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, proving what is acceptable unto the Lord, and have no fellowship with have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. Right? And we can continue to read down. Right? I actually quoted this earlier. It says, for it is a shame even to speak of these things which were done of them in secret. But all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light. Right? Because what was done in dark gonna come to light. Right? For whatsoever doeth make it manifest as light. Wherefore he saith, awake thou that sleepest, right? Come out of that darkness, wake up, arise from the dead. Yahweh gave thee light, right? Yahweh brought light unto us for us to get out that dark ways, right? See ye then, walk circumspectly, meaning what? Wary to do risk. You ain't trying to take no chance. You gonna do the will of Yahweh outside. That's it. You ain't caring what's around you. You don't care what's next to you. You don't care what. All you focusing on is will Yahweh outside and focusing on this narrow passage. Because if you look right, you look left. It stands on the right. It stands on the left. We got our eyes focused on Yahweh outside and His will, right? Not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the times because the days of evil. The days are evil, man, and the evil days are coming. Perilous times are coming. So you want to prepare yourself now, man. Right? You want to prepare yourselves now. I could have sworn, we'll try one time. I could have sworn there's one more in Corinthians. Might be mistaken, man. I might be mistaken. I might be mistaken, man. I could have sworn there was one in Corinthians. But understanding, man, that, hey, you got to wear that darkness, man. Jake gross darkness, man. Esau was cursed with that darkness. Esau will never be able to understand the knowledge and understanding to be able to get close to Yahweh like we can. Right? So within that mercy being upon us, man, don't take it for granted. Don't take it granted. Take advantage of the opportunity to correct yourself through the spirit of power of Yahweh, right? This word, we cleanse ourselves through this word, right? That's the baptism. We clean ourselves through this word, man. This knowledge and understanding and return it back to Yahweh, man. Right? So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, exalting. Right now, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honor unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the whole flesh, starting with the 144,000. Shalom.